What is going on, everybody? It has been about a week. I have actually got some exciting news. I moved all the way to Salt Lake City, Utah from Florida. So this video is going to be all about the comparison between what I've noticed living in Florida and what I've noticed living in Utah with the hair system. Real quick though, guys, this video is sponsored by Humidity Hair. They make a great product. Use my code JAKE15 for 15% off any purchase that you make. Full discretion, guys, I make 0% commission off of anything that you buy. Livid is just investing in the community so that way we can spread knowledge, get their name out there, and make sure that we're doing good work. So let's talk about the different variables, right, of living from Florida to now living in Utah. So let's do before and after, right? So living in Florida, what are the things that we have to keep in mind that would affect really a hair system, right? Well, first up, Florida is very, very hot, right? Most of the days in the summer can be in the 90s or even hotter than that, depending on where you live. As you can imagine, that is extremely hot if you don't have the right type of hair system. If you have a hair system that is not breathable, man, it can be absolutely miserable. It can be something that you just do not enjoy whatsoever. And that was my first-hand experience with my first 2 units. They were poly-thin skins, and they were just incredibly uncomfortable because of the fact that I was overheating. If you guys have watched some of my videos, you know that I am a very active person and I go do CrossFit every single day, which is high intensity interval training. So my heart rate is getting up, I'm sweating a ton. I just got back from CrossFit here in Utah. My shirt's all wet and I'm kind of sweaty. But so that being said, right, I was absolutely uncomfortable in a poly thin skin. I absolutely had to change into a French lace poly hybrid. The reason I did that, I'll explain in this next part. So the other thing about Florida is it's very humid, right? Extremely humid. The humidity there is probably 60 to 80% all the time. Where I lived especially, it was right on the coast. So we constantly had that humid air, which does cool it down a little bit, especially compared to maybe Central Florida. But the humidity, I feel like really attacked the bonds on the hair system. And it's the type of place, if you've ever been, where no matter what you do, like if you take a shower, you come out, you dry yourself off, it feels like you're still in the shower. That's literally how it felt all the time. And I really think that actually affects the bonds, right? Both of the heat and the humidity really affect bonds. Those are not the conditions that work best for adhesives. Now, what I did use over in Florida was a poly border with tape. The reason being, because the tape seems to hold up better for me in humid environments and hot environments. When I'm sweating and I'm heating up the tape up here, it gets hot, but the other issue is that the adhesive seems to liquefy a little bit at hotter temperatures, right, that are above normal operating conditions, if you will. And the tape seemed to have a little bit more rigidity, if you will, to it. It's like it didn't leak. If you guys have ever had any problems with hair glue leaking, it's not something I miss, and it can really just be super anxiety producing, and it's not fun. But I seem to have way less problems with that if I used tape. So let's switch now over to talking about living here in Utah, right? So what's the temperature here? Right now, it is probably in the 60s as opposed to the 80s, 90s, or even up in the 100-degree range. Now that is a huge difference when it comes to hair systems and adhesives. That temperature alone has made such a difference. I mean, my whole body is cool, right? But I have not once felt any overheating. I actually think this is something I'm going to experiment, and you guys are going to come along for the journey in these next couple of videos. I'm going to experiment with wearing a full poly thin skin while working out, while doing any of that stuff, to see how it actually holds up. I have a feeling that it might be good enough, that the weather here might be good enough for me to get away with a poly thin skin, which could be really, really cool, right? So the temperature is completely different, right? And during the winter, it'll probably get down to about 30 degrees, which I can't wait to see how long the bond lasts when we're in winter. The other factor, right, the humidity. Here, it's extremely dry, like so dry, in fact, that I've actually had to begin putting like chapstick on my lips because I'm not used to it. I just, like my skin is drier, and that's something that's okay. I don't mind that. I'm gonna have to lotion up, but because it's so much more humid, the adhesives work so much better. Like I have had this bond on for probably, I'm gonna say 2 weeks. And if you guys have watched my previous videos down in Florida, I go like 10 days max. Sometimes every single 7 days I will go ahead and I will redo. But I actually have a ton of support here, and the adhesive is working great even after like 2 weeks. So that's something that I think is really gonna make a difference. And I'm excited to experiment with. I might actually go a little bit longer just to see how it holds up. I'm super excited about that because one, that's less maintenance, right? Which takes overall less time out of my life. Number two, it also saves wear and tear on the system itself, because that's probably one of the most taxing things that you can do is use all of those chemicals and take it on, take it off, all that kind of stuff, right? I think it's gonna be a way easier life with the hair system. I think that like living in Florida proved that you can do it anywhere, and it works. But I'm honestly super excited to just kind of go about living life and have less to worry about. So pretty excited for that stuff, guys. And I'm gonna be taking you along the journey where we're going to be doing new stuff. We're going to be trying new sports. We're going to be getting a lot more active out here in Salt Lake City. Like, this is my environment. This is where I was like destined to live, up in the mountains. That way I can snowboard, I can rock climb, I can mountain bike, I can do all this kind of stuff, right? And I can show you firsthand that you can do all this stuff with the hair system. So I'm pretty stoked on all that kind of stuff. This is my new place that you guys see. It's not really completely set up, but it's super nice. I'm in this mansion that is in a basement apartment in a mansion, and it's just I've never had this much space in my life, so I'm pretty excited about that too. So overall, guys, living in a hotter, more humid environment is definitely going to be more taxing on your hair system. Living in like a colder, more arid or drier area is definitely going to be a much easier experience if you have a hair system. And I'm going to be showing some comparisons. We can do some before and afters. I'll probably take some content from my old videos and I'll compare it with my new ones, so that way you guys can see, you guys can experiment, and you can experience it with me. Anyways, guys, thanks for sticking around. Sorry I didn't make content for about a week. I was moving and things took longer. I've had some car trouble, and life just kind of gets in the way sometimes. But I've been doing this for about a year almost, and this is the first time I've taken like a week break. So I do apologize about that, and I didn't feel good being away from you guys. So I'm excited to be back. And shout out to Live Vivid Hair once again for sponsoring this video, and we will see you soon.